Sometimes I wonder how life would have been if COVID never happened, if I didn't have senior year online, if there wasn't a pandemic, if there wasn't, such an increase in all these prices and everything, guys. Because I remember back in those days when I would go to the Dollar Tree and I would get snacks or I would get food and it would only be $1 flat. And it was like, wow, man, that was the best time ever. Little Caesars still at $5 pizzas, but where I'm at, they cost, seven and a half, $8, which is insane, dude. And, it just feels like there's so much stunted growth that everybody experienced, not just me personally, but I feel like globally, especially Generation Alpha guys, because I'm Generation Z, more or less the earlier Gen Z, 2002. So I grew up, I didn't have no smartphones. Smartphones didn't even exist back then. When my parents used to take pictures of me, they had to go to Walgreens or, you know, these pharmacy places and they would have to wait in line to get the film from the cameras, developed, and then you would get an email and you'd get have to go back in person to get the actual envelope with the pictures in it. That was really really cool, by the way. That was amazing. I don't even know if people still do that anymore in 2026. I doubt it, but that's the era that I grew up in. And I played a lot of old consoles. Like, dude, I pretty much had the experience of a 90s slash late 80s kid. I played the Dreamcast, I played the GameCube, I played Game Boy Advance, SP, I played the original Nintendo DS, I played the PS2, and then later on, around 2010, 2011, I was in elementary school. Then I got the 360, then I got the PlayStation 3. Then I got the Nintendo Wii, even though the Nintendo Wii is from 2007, so it's not really that new. I mean, the 360 and the PS3 are as well, but I didn't get those until later on, you know. Um, the Wii was the first console I actually had for new generation console, which is pretty interesting of that era. But all that rambling aside, guys, I mean, I don't know, man. It just feels so strange too that it's already May 20th, dude. I still remember when it was New Year's and I had went to Aldi. I got a buzz cut. It was looking fresh and clean and all that. I felt good. Went to Aldi. I bought some chocolate cake, the chocolate lava cake that has the little chocolate chips on it. That was really, really good. And it's already been 5 months, man. I just cannot believe that, There is actually no perception of time. I feel like in you know, these past 6 years, dude. 2019, I feel like truly was the last year of existence. And I know you guys might think, okay, you're being an extremist, you're just saying a bunch of nonsense, it sounds ridiculous, but dude, I remember 10 years ago, 2016, 9 years ago, 2017. During these times, guys, I would have so much fun with friends. We would ride bike, we would, go to the Dollar Tree, we would buy snacks, we would go to Little Caesars, we would go Burger King when it was more affordable. And dude, time just lasted forever, man. It felt like 2016. And I'm not trying to glaze because I know that on social media everybody's glazing 2016, 2016 this, 2016 that. But dude, literally, so many house parties I went to, so many, friends I hanged out with, so many different experiences I had during that time that were great, you know? And the months just felt like they lasted forever, dude. The months felt 5 times longer. But now, dude, the beginning of the month could start and then, in the blink of an eye, it's like, okay, it's already the 20th. Bam. Then we're in June. And then before you know it, we're in October. And it's just like, dude, what the heck happened, man? And I know that it's not because of, the youthfulness, dude, because maybe it is. I honestly do not know, man. But Yeah, these times that we're living in are just so strange. And it feels like everybody's more distant, man. I remember 10 years ago when everybody was playing Pokemon Go, and that was like the most coolest thing to ever witness with my own two eyes, dude. You know, people were out in my neighborhood playing Pokemon Go together. There was like hundreds of people out, and they were, communicating, they were being social, they were talking about Pokemon and all this cool stuff, and I was like, dang, that's nice. And my friends and I used to do that, when Pokemon Go was at its peak. And, it's just crazy that we don't have that type of stuff anymore now, man. We do not. I've been, doing cardio at the park, trying, I'm on this weight loss journey, I guess you could say. I'm trying to lean out. And, dude, I literally rarely see anybody at the park. And, you could say that maybe it was just because Pokemon Go was a trend, but dude, it was so much more authentic feeling, you know? Now everybody just seems so distant, and you could say that it is because of COVID, which it probably was. And I'm gonna say the C word, I do not care. YouTube could flag this video, I do not care, bro. I'm just gonna speak my mind and speak what I'm thinking. But everybody just became so distant, man, you know? And another thing I want to talk about, this is really random, but I have not seen anybody that I knew from high school, middle school, or elementary school graduation. I have not seen any of those people in 5 years, man. Some of my emo friends that I know from high school, obviously we're on Instagram, we have each other on close friends and stuff, so I see what they're doing. They're doing film stuff, that's pretty cool. They're doing Twitch stuff, even though they don't have that much followers, but just like me, I'm trying to make it as a content creator with this channel and my other channels, right? But dude, I have not seen or heard from anybody else, man. I don't even know what these other people look like now. You know what I mean? And the weirdest part about this, guys, is that I live in a very small community. I live in a very small type of community where everybody knows everybody. There's one close grocery store and there's close restaurants nearby. Everything that's needed is pretty much in the same area, you know. Everything is compact together. And I just cannot believe it, dude. These people I knew since elementary school, same area, middle school, exact same area, high school, exact same area. Like, dude, 5 minutes distance from where I lived for middle school, elementary, and high school, dude. 5 to 6 minutes distance. And I have not seen any of these people since graduation at all, you know? Even on Instagram, they don't post anymore. They've pretty much gone off the radar or quote unquote off the grid. And, it's just crazy, man. And I remember one of my old best friends, he made an Instagram account. I'm like, oh wow, he made Instagram. That's cool. You know, he kind of he had this glow up, and he kind of went off the radar for a long time for personal reasons. And we were catching up about, I want to say, 8 months ago, and I asked him about my original best friend from elementary school. I'm like, oh, what's up with him? And he pretty much told me, oh yeah, yeah, Flacco, your friend, he lives in Colombia now. And I'm like, really? Dude, that's insane, bro. Like, actually insane. This guy lived in the same area as me, same neighborhood, same everything for 23 years. And then he moved to Colombia in October 2025, man. And that just completely shocked me. And he's there permanently now. So even if I wanted to rekindle our friendship and all that, it would be pretty impossible because, he's in a completely different country. And actually, I think it's going on 8 months. But yeah, man, the perception of time just how fast time is going, how expensive everything is, just makes you wonder how the world would have been if the C-19 didn't happen, if senior year took place in person and not virtual, if everything wasn't so restrictive, if everything had just been normal, because during 2020, I started gaining a lot more hobbies and I started, dressing better and all this stuff. So I'm just so curious, man, to see how the experiences would have been if I actually, went, if senior year happened in person, you know. That's just my thoughts and, what I've been thinking about recently, and I just wanted to make this video. Please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. I'm at 107 subscribers right now. And continue supporting this channel. I might rebrand it. And that's all I have to say. Thank you very much and have a good day or night.